Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is about to begin. Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends. Welcome to the Echo Battery, 1st Battalion, 40th Field Artillery, and Charlie Battery, 1st Battalion, 79th Field Artillery Basic Combat Training Graduation Ceremony. Today marks the successful completion of the demanding requirements of 10 weeks of rigorous Army basic combat training for these soldiers. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the invocation and the playing of the national anthem. The invocation will be given by the 1st Battalion, 40th Field Artillery Chaplain, Captain Sutton.
Let us pray. Almighty and gracious God, thank you for this day and thank you for the opportunity to celebrate this occasion. Thank you for your protection and blessing over these young men and women who stand before us. Thank you for giving them the strength to persevere. Thank you for the families and friends who have gathered here in support of these soldiers. Thank you for the drill sergeants and cadre who have sacrificed their time and energy to train and equip the next generation. Continue to bless them, these battalions, this brigade, and the Fire Center of Excellence as they strive to accomplish their mission. Bless these new soldiers and continue to be a guide to them as they move forward in their pursuit of excellence. Bless our time here together and bless this great nation. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
I'm an American soldier. I'm a warrior, never a fiend. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am a professional.
At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the commander of Charlie Battery, 1st Battalion, 79th Field Artillery, Captain Monica Romero.
Good morning, Mayor Booker, Colonel Blackman, Command Sergeant Major Slater, Mr. Lucas, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am Captain Romero, and I am an American soldier. On behalf of the Fort Sill Command Team, welcome to Fort Sill and the 434 Artillery Brigade graduation ceremony. Thank you all for joining us today as we commemorate the accomplishments of the warriors and our newest American soldiers. Before we continue to move forward in celebration of the Army's next generation, we must take the time to honor those who served before us. We would like to recognize all veterans in attendance at today's ceremony. Will all veterans please stand? On behalf of the 434 Field Artillery Brigade team, we would like to thank all veterans for your service to our country. 10 weeks ago, the warriors standing before you left home, many for the first time, to become part of something bigger than themselves. Although they arrived as individuals, they are leaving as members of a time-honored team. They have worked and succeeded in every task that was put before them, because failure was not an option. As they will tell you, it takes more than boots and a uniform to make an American soldier. They have been instilled with the fundamentals of discipline and have embodied the core Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. These fundamentals are values acquired and put into practice every day through tough and realistic and safe training. You may have already heard the stories about the sting of the gas chamber, the nervousness of throwing a live hand grenade, and the pride of passing the final Army combat fitness test. These stories are just a representation of their overall experience. In just over 67 days, they trained on their primary weapon system, foot marched more than 60 miles, and learned how to perform life-saving measures and experienced, of course, the beautiful, ever-changing weather of Oklahoma. Every training event is a building block towards forming a foundation of skills these soldiers will use in everyday life and combat. They have shaped these skills by training like their lives and the lives of their battle buddies depended on it. Furthermore, they understand that the soldier's creed and the warrior ethos are not just words to memorize, but words that American soldiers live by. These soldiers have met every challenge head on and succeeded due in large part to the positive leadership and demanding environment created by our Army's finest non-commissioned officers. These outstanding coaches, mentors, and role models taught your soldier the true meaning of discipline and teamwork. The drill sergeant's professionalism, competence, and dedication to standards have made lifelong impressions on your soldiers. Most importantly, these soldiers would not be here today if not for the undying love and support of their family. I applaud you all and ask that you continue to support your soldier through their military career. They became American soldiers for you, their family, and friends. Soldiers of Charlie Battery 179 and Echo Battery 140th, I extend my gratitude to you for the sacrifices you have made to become an American soldier. By taking this courageous step during a period of global uncertainty, you have truly set yourself apart from our fellow citizens as defenders of freedom and the American way of life. You are well trained, you are mentally, physically, and emotionally tough. I would be honored to lead each and every one of you on today's modern battlefield. Godspeed and good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for our newest American soldiers. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. As some of you may know, our guest of honor was the Surgeon General of the United States Army, and she was the first African American woman in Army history to achieve the rank of Lieutenant General, and currently the highest ranking woman to graduate from the United States Military Academy. After 37 years of service to this nation, she now frequently travels as a board member and trustee to a multitude of distinguished organizations. Her beyond impressive career and infectious leadership continues to inspire soldiers and leaders throughout our Army to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant General retired Nadia West.
Well, good morning, everyone. Wow. Good morning, everyone. Yeah. How's everyone doing? Great. Well, I'd like to say good morning to our distinguished guests, to Mayor Booker. Thanks so much for that pin. I'll wear it proudly of being here, and it's so great being here with you here at Fort Sill. And I'd like to also extend a welcome to family and friends of our graduates, supporters of the Fort Sill community, and fellow soldiers. I really appreciate the privilege of being able to join you for this celebration. But first, I want to give a shout out to the outstanding, dedicated, and hardworking drill sergeants, instructors, cadre, range personnel, and other leaders and supporters all around the installation. Thank you. You put in the long hours to prepare for and develop the course of instruction and training, and work tirelessly to provide purpose, direction, and motivation that made this day possible. Your work, what you do every day, is vital to the success of our Army, and that is training our future soldiers. So let's give all of those support individuals a round of applause. Thank you. And now to our basic combat training graduates. I am really honored to be with you here today because each one of you is really a big deal. Now, I don't want you all to get big heads, but it's true. You are a big deal to our Army and to our nation. Because you see, each one of you decided that you would hold up your right hand and take the oath to support and defend our Constitution and what it stands for. You have a variety of reasons of why each one of you made that decision, but in the end, all of you volunteered to show up, to try something new and different, and to move way out of your comfort zones, away from friends and family, to join the profession of arms and to become soldiers. And for that, I thank you. I also want to congratulate you because you have made it through the first test, basic combat training. And that proves you have what it takes to be able to tackle the next level of responsibilities that awaits you at AIT or your next duty stations. You may feel a bit nervous about what's ahead of you, but I will tell you to trust the training that your drill instructors have provided. They have prepared you well on the basics and have set you up for success. So now I want to leave you, our newest soldiers, with a few thoughts as you go on your way from one of probably the oldest old soldiers around. You know, so you're probably wondering what this old lady can possibly tell you that is relevant for you today. True, I'm as old as dirt, as they say, and I did start Beast Barracks at West Point in 1978. That's probably before some of your parents were even born. But there are some principles that stand the test of time and translate across generations. And I was also always not this old. So when I look back at my 17-year-old self during my first week of cadet basic training, there is no way that I thought I would have made it to where I am today to be able to speak to you. I remember times, and I recall back in the day at the M16 station where you were taught how to assemble and disassemble the M16A1 rifle. Now, do any of you even know what that is? Maybe if you go to the museum, you'll probably see one. But anyway, that was my first exposure to firearms of any kind, and it was a timed event. And there we were out in the field with our weapons neatly laid out on a placemat that had an outline of all the parts of the weapon on it, waiting to start. And as that clock started, and I started the process, I came in dead last out of my squad. And 3 times later, dead last every time. Now, the cadre was getting a bit annoyed and finally said, in a very animated way, as you know that our drill instructors can do sometimes, they said, "Grammer," that was my maiden name, "you will not be last again." So as you can imagine, I was shook. So when the time started and the next time that weapon came, I threw that weapon together as fast as I could. Unfortunately, when I finished, there were parts left over. And it was time for the function check. The weapon was frozen. The charging handle wouldn't even budge. So the instructor called over the armorer, who just stood shaking his head. And all I could say was, well, at least I wasn't last. But there I sat while the rest of my class went on training with my head down and my empty placemat in front of me, wondering what I had gotten myself into. I thought that this was it. I will never be a soldier, not a good one anyway. I seemed to just keep screwing up. But I kept trying and eventually figured it out. And as the summer went on and the years went on, I got better and better. And the lesson here to all you new soldiers is that it doesn't matter where you start. You can still end up at the top if you keep trying, working hard, if you don't get down on yourself, and you don't quit. So fast forward a few years later, when I was approaching my senior year at West Point, I had decided that I would really like to be an Army doctor so I could take care of my fellow soldiers and their families. Being able to serve those that were serving their nation seemed like a really rewarding and awesome profession. But then people would tell me, you know, it's really hard. It's really hard to get into medical school. And once you get in, it's really hard to stay in. Some were coming from a good place, some not so much. And some even said, you could never do that. You could never be a doctor. And unfortunately, I started to listen to the naysayers and the haters and almost convinced myself that that wasn't such a good idea after all, and I wasn't going to apply to medical school. Then I received a piece of advice that I'm sharing with you today, and that is, if it's what you really want to do, go for it. The worst that can happen is that you don't get it. So the lesson here is don't take yourself out of the race before it even starts. The next thoughts I will leave you with were things that my parents taught me. My mom and dad, so my dad, who was a soldier, used to tell my brothers and sisters and me that our word was our bond, that we should always strive to be people that were trustworthy and reliable. He said that to be someone that your peers and your team can always count on and who's always known to be honest and truthful is a person that will succeed in life no matter what they do. It doesn't mean it will be easy. It's not going to be an easy road, but you will know that it's the right thing to do and the right one. And my mom used to say something similar. Do what is right even when no one is looking. And also, treat everyone right because you don't know who you're meeting and what the other person is going through. So their words stayed with me and were reinforced by the values that our Army teaches us to live by, that you just heard the commander say. The lesson here is to really talk about or take time to think about and sit with our Army values. Don't think of them as one more thing you have to memorize. Think about each one of them really means and how you can live them every day. And I know it sounds corny, but it's not. Every day, think about how you would exercise each one of those values. Even as a senior leader, I had to remind myself during times that it would have been much easier not to speak up, to provide an unpopular recommendation and get criticized. I had to remind myself that I had the duty to exercise personal courage and say what needed to be said for the good of others despite the consequences. You must start doing that as well every day, and I promise it will make you a better person and a better team member. So remember, where you start does not predict where you will finish because there's a lot of time in between for improvement. Don't take yourself out of the race before you even start running. And living our Army values really matters. Be that trustworthy person and that reliable person and do right even when no one is looking. So I will end with a little bit about being a soldier. For me, being a soldier gave me a sense of belonging and pride to be a member of what I believe is the world's greatest team. That's why I stayed in the Army as long as I did. Yes, there were ups and downs, really tough days when I thought I would never make it, and questioned why I joined and why I continued to stay. There are some great experiences and some not so great, but underlying it all was the people that I had the opportunity to serve with and to lead. They reminded me that I was part of an awesome team and had a solemn responsibility and mission to serve my country. I wore the patches of many units: U.S. Army Health Services Command, the 197th Infantry Brigade, 24th Infantry Division, and the 1st Armored Division, just to name a few. The patch, along with the American flag on my sleeve, reminded me that I was part of something greater than myself, that I was an Army doc, a sledgehammer, a victory soldier, an iron soldier, and I was a member of a brotherhood and sisterhood that does not compare to anything else on the planet. Bottom line, I am an American soldier. You are American soldiers. And this means that we are family and have a bond that transcends everything that is different about each one of us. No matter what we look like, how old we are, where we're from, or what we are America's soldiers. So as you go into your units all around the globe, remember that. You are America's soldiers, and that means something. Take care of your fellow soldiers. Do your utmost best to always place your mission first, to never accept defeat, to never quit, and to never leave a fallen comrade in any situation. Your buddies, your Army, and your nation are depending upon you to do just that. And know from today forward, you've got this. You've been well trained. So again, congratulations and best of luck to you. God bless our fellow soldiers serving in the world, all over the world, in harm's way, and their families. God bless our Army, and God bless the United States of America. Go Army.
At this time, the battery command teams of Echo Battery and Charlie Battery will present the guest speaker with a certificate declaring her an honorary graduate of Class 3922 and Class 4022. Thank you, Lieutenant General West. In keeping with the 434th Field Artillery Brigade's policy of recognizing superior performance, awards will be presented to those soldiers that have distinguished themselves during the training cycle. Ladies and gentlemen, please hold your applause until all awardees have been recognized. The Distinguished Honor Graduates of the Cycle Award is presented to the soldier who demonstrates overall excellence in training and character development throughout the training cycle. The Cycle's Distinguished Honor Graduates are Specialist Jagger Lowe from Dallas, Texas, and Specialist Samuel Silva from Elkinson, Maryland. The Basic Rifle Marksmanship Award is presented to the soldier that attains the highest score during the live fire qualification with the M4 carbine. The Marksmanship Awards are presented to Private First Class Abigail Henke from Osseo, Wisconsin, with a score of 28 out of 40, and Specialist Alexander Swanson from Alexandria Bay, New York, with a score of 31 out of 40. The Physical Fitness Award is presented to the soldier who achieved the highest score on the final Army Combat Fitness Test out of 600 possible points. The Physical Fitness Awards are presented to Private Peyton Pelkey from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, with a score of 588, and Private First Class Richard Williamson from Hartsville, South Carolina, with a score of 595. Each unit also recognizes a graduating soldier with an award dedicated to the service and actions of a distinguished soldier from the U.S. Army's history. Please refer to your program for the history about the following awards. From the 1st Battalion, 40th Field Artillery, the Private George Watson Award is presented to Private First Class Chelsea Castellanos from Wilmington, Carolina. And from the 1st Battalion, 79th Field Artillery, the 2nd Lieutenant Jeffrey C. Ferris Award is presented to Private Jack Cannon from New York City, New York. Please join me in a round of applause for the honor graduates and all awardees. During the training cycle, there are certain standards that have to be met in order to be distinguished as an honor platoon. For Class 4022, 2nd Platoon.
Bravo!
And for Class 3922, 4th Platoon.
Vargas!
Has met these high standards and is distinguished as honor platoon. Please give all of the graduating classes a very deserving round of applause.
The soldiers we are honoring today would not be here were it not for the efforts of the drill sergeants. Identified by their distinctive headgear are the drill sergeants. These dedicated non-commissioned officers are the backbone of the Army and the central focus of the 434 Field Artillery Brigade mission. Selected on the basis of professional competence, leadership ability, and years of service, these men and women undergo intensive training to earn the right to wear their distinctive campaign hat and insignia. With the drill sergeant hat goes the important responsibility of molding civilian men and women into soldiers. Please join me in a round of applause for the drill sergeants.
At this time, Captain Robertson will come forward to present the Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Trophy. The Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Trophy is presented to the Drill Sergeant who has best displayed the qualities of leadership and devotion to duty during the training cycle. These awards are being presented to Drill Sergeant Geronime from Los Lunos, New Mexico, and Drill Sergeant Hopt from Hershey, Pennsylvania, who could not be in attendance today. In recognition of their performance, the drill sergeants will receive an Army Achievement Medal and the Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Trophy. Drill Sergeant Parrish is now presenting a bouquet of flowers to Drill Sergeant Geronime's wife, Samantha, for the moral support she has given to the battery and Drill Sergeant Geronime during this training cycle. Drill Sergeant Peterson is now presenting a bouquet of flowers to Drill Sergeant Hop's wife, Shelby, for the moral support she has given to the battery and Drill Sergeant Hopt during the training cycle. At this time, the 434th Brigade Command Team, Colonel Blackman and Command Sergeant Major Slater are presenting the Drill Sergeant Geronime with the 434th Field Artillery Brigade Coin for Excellence. Drill sergeants follow a set of fundamental beliefs that guide them in training soldiers. The principles are set forth in the Drill Sergeant Creed.
I'm a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in the country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, and requiring soldier to attempt any task I would not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am Drill Sergeant.
Ladies and gentlemen, an American soldier's first act is to swear to defend our Constitution. Just as the Constitution of the United States is the cornerstone of our free society, the soldier's oath is the backbone of the Army's commitment to preserving it.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend
to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and I will obey the orders
and I will obey the orders
of the President of the United States
of the President of the United States
and the orders
and the orders
of the officers appointed over me,
of the officers appointed over me,
according to regulations
according to regulations
and the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
and the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the Army song and remain standing for the retiring of the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. You may now see your soldier.